Hello and welcome to A Light in the Dark. This is Stephanie Boysen and this is my faith journey. And this video is going to be kind of a brief summary of how I came to faith and just my origins and a little bit of my background growing up. That's probably all this video will be for today. So I tend to be very long-winded and I'm going to try to be as concise as possible, but also just flow with the Holy Spirit and see what He wants me to share. So as I mentioned in my first introduction video, I have basically always believed in Jesus as long as I can remember, and that is largely due to the fact, first of all, that my parents were very much big influencers. They were very bold in their beliefs and made it very clear to us the importance of following Christ from a very young age. We read the Bible together, and I regularly heard my parents speaking of biblical religious topics. That was pretty much what consumed their conversations. And so I picked up a lot just from overhearing what they were speaking about, and through, reading the Bible together. And I even felt led to read the Bible myself, but that was always hit and miss. And but the thing that really cemented my own belief in God was an incident I had when I was only about 4 to 5 years old. I don't honestly know exactly how old I was, but my memory before I was 5 really was pretty foggy. But this was one of those memories that really has stuck with me, and you'll understand why. There was a day when I must have woke up from a nap, and I didn't realize it was a nap. I guess I was quite disoriented and thought it was in the morning. And I just remember waking up and I was confused because my sister, whom I shared the room with, wasn't in her bed above me, in the bunk bed above me. And my parents weren't in their room across the hall. And it felt like the house was pretty quiet and empty, like no one was there. And I kind of got scared, like, where is everyone? And I was young enough that it kind of scared me to realize I might be alone. And I didn't notice them outside either, but I don't believe I looked very hard. But for some reason, I had this brilliant idea that I just recalled that my siblings had been going down the road. I didn't know exactly where, but they were going somewhere to play with some friends and build a fort, is what I understood. And I wasn't sure if that was at someone's house or in the woods nearby, because there was not many houses down our road. But I thought, well, it can't be that hard to find them. So because I just didn't like that I was alone, I thought, I'm just gonna go look for them. So I went and I jumped on my bike, which I believe I just only recently learned to ride. It may have even still had training wheels on it for all I know. But I remember I jumped on the bike and I decided to go down the road in the direction I thought they might be and see if I could find them. And I got quite a ways down the road, and there wasn't really anyone. There weren't many houses down that way. In fact, there was only one. And this house, I didn't know who lived there. I'd never been there before. I met the people who lived there before. And I contemplated going down the road, but I couldn't hear my siblings. I figured they'd be outside, and I didn't hear them. And I kind of thought, well, I don't know, it's scary to go down to somebody's house. So I decided to continue and go up this hill at the end of the road to see if maybe I could hear or see something from that higher vantage point. And when I reached the top of the hill, I just remember stopping and kind of looking around and realizing how far I was from home, which wasn't that far, but at that age, it was quite a far way to be away from home, all on my own without anyone knowing where I was. And kind of some fear kind of settled on me at like, what am I doing? And I still don't know where anyone is. And I was contemplating, should I go down to the neighbors and this neighbor's house just down the hill and see if they're there? Because I still don't like the fact that I was alone. I didn't know where they were. And I thought, well, there's a possibility they could be there. So I was contemplating this and, you know, feeling kind of afraid that I was alone, when all of a sudden I heard this booming voice, thundering voice from heaven, from the sky, say my name. And it startled me. I didn't know how to respond. I was so afraid and just kind of paralyzed. And I ended up just kind of freezing for a moment. And then I was like, I need to go home. And I just jumped on my bike and I went home as fast as I could. And oddly enough, right when I get home, you know, I see that some of my siblings are outside. Everyone was home. Everything was as it should have been. My mom was upstairs in the kitchen and nothing was amiss. And I felt so silly, like, here I'm searching for them and I'm all terrified and they were here all along. And I don't think they even realized I'd left, because I wasn't gone that long. And I had this experience. I don't really know what to make of it. I don't think I told anyone about it. And ever since then, you know, I've always remembered back to that, and there's no way in any point in my life that I could ever doubt that God wasn't real. It just cemented it within me because I couldn't shake that experience. And I didn't understand. I've never really understood why that happened and why I've never heard him speak to me in that way ever again. I've never heard him audibly speak to me in that way ever again. And I remember there was a few times growing up where I really wanted to hear him, and I thought maybe I had disappointed him because he didn't want to speak to me, and I thought it was because I didn't respond to him, or, you know, whatever. And but now that I'm older and I reflect back on it, I wonder if he was saving me from what could have happened next had I gone down to that neighbor's house. Like, I didn't know them at all. Who knows what could have happened to me? Little girl all on her own, and no one knew where she was. I mean, it could have been really bad. So I'm really thankful for that. And I also have always had a strong sense that perhaps God allowed it so that it was something I could hold on to through the storms in life. Just remembering that God exists and he sees me, he knows me. But also that I kind of always had this feeling like maybe that was literally him calling me. Like, that he was letting me really know that he had a greater purpose and calling on my life. And perhaps if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been as aware or looking for what that calling and purpose was on my life. And so I don't know fully why that happened, but I'm so grateful for it. And I do remember, like, I do feel, like, as I reflect on my childhood, that God really did always give me a heart to want to serve him, and even to, want to please my parents, to be obedient, and just I just really feel like God was calling me from a young age. So with that being said, I do recall a memory when I was probably about the same age, 5, maybe 6, I don't know. And my parents did a lot of worship music. They wrote a lot of their own music. Music was always a big part of our lives. And I know that I recall a memory when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I shut myself up in my room because I was too shy to kind of sing in front of everyone else, even though we sung together as a family. But I remember singing to the Lord a new worship song that we had learned, or that was popular at the time. And I still recall it. And it's kind of been my life song. Like, every time I've heard it, it's just like one of those songs that really, it means a lot to me. It's been my heart to the Lord, my heart posture to the Lord. And it goes, if I can remember, maybe I'll sing it. It goes like this. Oh Lord, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways, and step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Yeah. It's just one of those songs that, to me, it completely sums up this walk of faith. And I want to live by that. By what that song says. So so that's kind of my introduction of how I came to be a believer and why I have never wavered in my belief in God, and where that seed kind of was planted, that God had a greater plan and purpose for my life. But as it will unfold in the next videos, my life has not been an easy journey, but I've learned that God had a purpose in allowing all of it, because he was using it to refine me, to prune me, to grow me, strengthen me, just to prepare me for the call that he did have on my life. But it took a long time for me to figure that out. And I think that's true for most of us, but I'm thankful that I had that early start. I know there's so many people that didn't have that privilege of knowing God from such a young age. And I know I wouldn't be where I'm sitting today and who I am today at this point in my life. You know, and even still, I'm 37, and I feel like it's all finally kind of just coming together. And yeah, I'm so thankful for what God has done and what He's about to do, and how He will use me in my story to help others on their own walks of faith. And I hope that it encourages and blesses you. Well, that's it for this video. God bless, and see you in the next one. Thanks.